Good morning, you're listening to the brief wake up, your mindful start to the day. I'm Handel, your daily coffee companion, helping you wake up informed, thoughtful, and maybe just a little amused before the day gets old. If you're commuting, corralling kids, or just standing in line for caffeine, you're in the right place. Let's get you caught up. Starting with our health, this morning's topic is holiday travel and blood flow. As the holiday season kicks into high gear, millions of us will be spending hours sitting on planes, in cars, at gates, or around dinner tables. And while it feels harmless, that stillness can quietly change what's happening inside your body. Let's talk about how and why it matters. The cardiac cycle is a beautiful loop. Veins bring used blood back to the heart. The heart pumps it to the lungs for a refresh of oxygen, and then sends that oxygen-rich blood through the arteries to every cell in the body. But for this system to work, blood must keep moving. When blood slows down or pools, it can begin to clot. Now, clotting itself isn't all bad. It's one of the body's oldest survival tools. If you're bleeding, you want blood to clot. That's why pressure on a wound works. It gives platelets and other factors in our blood time to seal off the leak. But when that same process happens inside a vein that's supposed to stay open with blood flowing, it can become dangerous. A clot that forms in a deep vein, usually in the legs, can break free, travel through the bloodstream, and lodge in the lungs. That's called a pulmonary embolism, and it can be life-threatening if not caught early. That's different from what happens in the arteries when they develop a clot. Arteries carry blood away from the heart, so a clot there doesn't travel to the lungs. When an artery is blocked, blood can't reach the brain or heart muscle. That's what causes strokes or heart attacks. So the direction of blood flow decides how a clot behaves. Veins send clots to the heart and lungs. Arteries cut blood off from vital organs. Now, why does this matter during the holidays? Because long stretches of sitting, even 2 or 3 hours, can make blood stagnate in the legs. The muscles that normally squeeze veins and push blood upward are relaxed. Add dehydration from dry airplane air or too much coffee, and blood gets thicker, more sluggish, more prone to clotting. And it's not just about travel. Some of us naturally have blood that clots faster. Genetics, certain medications, smoking, or recent illness can all increase that risk, which can result in a fatal clot that travels to the lungs via the heart. So this holiday season, build in a little movement wherever you can. On flights, flex your calves, roll your ankles, stand up every hour if possible. On road trips, stop and stretch at rest areas. Drink plenty of water, because hydration keeps your blood moving smoothly. Your body's entire circulation is designed for motion, and when we stop moving, the system feels it. As you travel to see family or friends, remember, the best way to arrive safely is to keep your blood flowing on the way there. This season, don't just move toward the holidays, move through them. Your heart and your veins will thank you for it. The news is next. In this morning's news, we will highlight 2 important recent developments. The U.S. seizing a Venezuelan oil tanker, and Indiana lawmakers reject Trump's redistricting push. The standoff between Washington and Caracas just intensified. The U.S. Treasury has hit 6 shipping companies and oil tankers with new sanctions, and seized a sanctioned Venezuelan crude carrier as part of a widening campaign to cut off funds to President Nicolas Maduro's regime. Among those targeted are 3 nephews of Venezuela's First Lady, once convicted in a U.S. narcotics case. The Treasury says the sanctioned vessels used deceptive and unsafe shipping practices to move crude and bankroll what it calls a narco-terrorist government. 4 of the 6 tankers are Panama flagged, the rest from the Cook Islands and Hong Kong, all recently loaded with Venezuelan oil. Analysts call it a powerful intimidation tactic. Any owner lifting crude from Caracas now risks losing the vessel entirely. The move sent oil prices higher and sharply escalated tensions. This is as U.S. agencies, backed by the Coast Guard and military, plan more tanker seizures in the coming weeks. While in the Midwest, a political battle just broke from the map room. Indiana lawmakers, including several Republicans, have rejected Donald Trump's call for a mid-decade redistricting overhaul. Trump had urged legislators to redraw congressional lines before 2026 to tighten GOP control. But state leaders in Indianapolis pushed back, saying it would violate state law and undermine public trust. It's a rare public rebuke and another sign of friction inside the party, as Trump campaigns for re-election while seeking deeper influence over state houses nationwide. The Big Sip is next. For today's Big Sip, the happiness treadmill, why holiday joy fades so fast. This morning, let's talk about something we all feel but rarely name: hedonic adaptation. It's the quiet reason why the rush of the holidays doesn't last. You know the feeling. The lights go up, the shopping carts fill, the music kicks in, and for a few weeks, life feels brighter. We smile more. We buy more. We even convince ourselves that this year finally we'll hold on to that feeling. But come January, the same things that made us glow in December suddenly feel ordinary again. Psychologists call that the hedonic treadmill. It means that no matter how much joy or excitement we chase, new gifts, new gadgets, even new goals, our minds eventually adapt. We reset. We normalize the extraordinary. And before long, we're back where we started, waiting for the next spark to make us feel alive again. It's a strange kind of emotional gravity, always pulling us back to baseline. Even lottery winners and newlyweds fall back to their usual happiness levels within a year or two. That's because the brain's reward system, driven by dopamine, loves novelty, but only for a little while. Once something becomes familiar, the brain moves on. The problem is, our culture turns that treadmill into a race. Each year we run around faster, spending more, doing more, scrolling more, trying to outrun adaptation itself. And yet, the finish line never comes. The result? Holiday burnout, financial stress, and the post-holiday blues that hit as soon as the decorations come down. But here's the good news. Happiness isn't about outrunning adaptation. It's about stepping off the treadmill. Studies show that gratitude, generosity, and savoring can slow the adaptation curve. When you stop to feel your moments, the smell of cinnamon, your child's laughter, the warmth of a friend's hug, the brain releases dopamine in smaller, steadier doses. Those last longer than any sale or surprise. And here's the secret. Giving over getting produces a more durable kind of joy. Acts of kindness create emotional novelty. They're unpredictable, unscripted, and deeply social. When we give time, attention, or compassion, we hack the brain's reward loop. The joy becomes less about chasing and more about connecting. So as the holidays unfold, try this. Buy less. Notice more. Give something that doesn't depreciate in your presence. Because the real magic of the season isn't about novelty. It's about noticing what was already there. The lighter roast is next. For the lighter roast, our topic, 2 homes, 1 holiday. Let's talk about the kids who live between 2 homes and what the holidays feel like for them. While most of us are counting down shopping days, they're counting travel days. A week here, a few days there. 2 Christmas trees, 2 schedules. 2 parents trying, sometimes awkwardly, to make one season feel whole. For these kids, love isn't about who gets Christmas Eve or Christmas morning. It's about consistency, about hearing the same stories, seeing the same ornaments, knowing both homes feel like home. And that takes more than coordination, it takes grace. Because co-parenting during the holidays isn't easy. One parent's joy can feel like the other's loss. But for the child, it's one long thread, woven from both ends. When parents respect that thread, when they show each other patience, they're not just sharing time, they're sharing stability. And that stability shows up in the small things. A meal that still tastes familiar, a bedtime story told the same way, a gentle reminder that love doesn't divide, it multiplies. Every time a parent chooses kindness over control, the child learns what peace feels like. So this season, if you're part of that delicate exchange, let the focus be the child's joy, not the calendar's math. Let them feel free to love both sides openly. No guilt trips, no comparisons. Just space to belong everywhere they're loved. Because in the end, Christmas isn't about which house they're in. It's about knowing both houses are safe, welcome places to land. Two homes, one heart, one holiday. And if you're lucky enough to help make that possible, you've already given the best gift there is. The day's commemoration is next. Today's date carries more meaning around the world than you might expect, from sacred pilgrimages to national pride, and even a few light-hearted traditions that make people smile. We start in Mexico, where millions celebrate the feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe, honoring the Virgin Mary's appearance to Juan Diego back in 1531. For many, it's more than a religious feast. It's a symbol of cultural identity and faith that's endured nearly 5 centuries. Across the ocean in Kenya, it's Jamhuri Day, or Republic Day, marking independence from Britain in 1963 and the birth of the Kenyan Republic a year later. It's a national moment of unity and reflection, a reminder that freedom isn't a gift, it's a responsibility. On the world stage, the United Nations recognizes Universal Health Coverage Day, promoting the idea that access to quality healthcare shouldn't depend on where you live or how much you earn. A simple message with global weight, health for all. There's also the International Day of Neutrality, which highlights the power of peace through diplomacy, an idea especially relevant in today's fractured world. And if you're looking for something lighter, December 12th is also Gingerbread House Day and National Ding-a-Ling Day, encouraging you to call someone you haven't spoken to in a while. Because sometimes, one phone call does more good than 1,000 posts online. So whether it's faith, freedom, or just frosting, today's commemorations remind us that connection, in all its forms, is what keeps the world together. From circulation in our veins to connection across borders, today's show reminded us that movement of blood, of ideas, of compassion keeps life healthy. When we stop chasing novelty and start noticing what endures, joy lasts longer than any holiday rush. So as the world celebrates faith, freedom, and family, keep your heart and your humanity in motion. This is Handel for the brief wake-up. Stay kind, calm, and curious. Top off that cup. Have a great weekend, and I'll catch you next time.